What is wrong with people? What is wrong with people in certain fandoms? Because you see this all over the place with certain things. Pro wrestling, there's these insane die-hard fans who think that they work for the companies or something that they enjoy. Video games, you see it all the time in video games. The Sony ponies, the Xbots, and the Nintendrones. These super fans who just don't have a grip on reality, and they're a little bit strange and a little bit out there, and their thought process is a little bit different. And when it comes to Nintendo, the one thing that you can always sort of look at when it comes to seeing the worst of Nintendo fans is when it comes to emulation, because there's this whole mindset of emulation just being the worst thing ever, because in 50 years Nintendo might want to re-release some game from the obscure eras. Now, I'm a huge fan of emulation because I'm the king of emulation. I'm not a Nintendo YouTuber, but we've been talking a lot about emulation on this channel. Recently, I reviewed a mini PC that you guys really seem to enjoy that video. If you haven't checked it out yet, make sure you check it out. Other stuff, how to run Nintendo Switch on your PC in under 10 minutes, different handheld emulation devices, the whole Dolphin versus Nintendo situation. I love emulation. I think it's a really good thing. But now there's a whole nother story, because with the Dolphin situation, you saw some of the worst of Nintendo fans, and I mean, God almighty, this is even worse. So this is kind of a two-part video. We're going to talk about the main topic, and then we're going to talk about the fan reaction by some of these people, because Nintendo fanboys are absolutely losing their minds. So the Yuzu Emulator is now available for download on the Google Play Store for your Android phone devices, or whatever Android device you got, a tablet, a phone, whatever. I feel like most people are going to use this on their phone, and it seems like this isn't just like a beta test or anything. Like, they're actually getting pretty good performance out of things. They show you sort of the virtual interface of everything. Of course, this is a free to download emulator because, you know, emulators themselves are usually free. So you can see the interface here. You can see sort of the dual analog setup, the D-pad, the plus and minus buttons here. X, Y, B, and A are trigger buttons, our plus, our minuses. Basically, you know, how it's going to look when you're playing it on your mobile device. They're showing Skyrim running on it. A full 30 frames per second. You can see that this looks to be Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom or one. I don't know. Honestly, they look kind of the same. 18.1 frames per second. So obviously some things are going to work better than other things on this device. They basically tell you kind of how this came to be, how they brought it to Yuzu, or they brought Yuzu to Android, all that sort of cool stuff. But like I said, you can actually download it right now on your cell phone device. This went up late last night. I'm actually talking about it at night because I like to plan my videos out sometimes. Here's the basic interface of how it's going to look. Of course, you have to have your keys and stuff like that. Here's some of the different hardware requirements. Basically, what you need is something with a Snapdragon 8, at least an 8.1 on it. Various, you know, different phones are going to have different capabilities. Different devices are going to have different capabilities, much like any emulator and emulation device. Your mileage is going to vary as far as, you know, how far you can actually push your hardware system in terms of what you could do. But when running on a, for best compatibility, an Adreno 600 series running Mesa Turnip drivers, and if you go with the best performance, you get the Adreno 700, which is a Snapdragon Generation 1 and higher devices, but some of the games won't run on it because obviously they're still working out the kinks with it. But this chart right here is actually pretty impressive. This is between a Samsung Galaxy S23 and a Samsung Galaxy S20 FE 5G with a Mesa Turnip running on it. You can get full capability of Skyward Sword on both of these devices. Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury on the S23 at full potential. Link's Awakening, full potential on the S23. Smash at full potential on the S23. Tropical Freeze at full potential. You can see with Breath of the Wild, it does go down a bit. So I guess that was Breath of the Wild here. But this is literally the launch of this emulator. And if you know anything about emulators, as time goes on, these emulators get better. They run the games better. They do everything better than they originally did before. So I fully expect this to be a very powerful emulator at some point in time. If you're already getting full performance on games like Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury on both of your devices, the sky is obviously the limit here. Now, once again, you have to keep in mind, not every single game is going to work on this emulator. Not every single game is going to work on your phone or your, tablet device. People are going to obviously have to test out different things. I'm actually looking at some different Android devices. I always look at the budget stuff because I like the bang for your buck sort of stuff to see if you can make essentially a Nintendo Switch for cheaper than Nintendo does with, potentially a better screen and stuff like that. So yeah, this is very cool, and this is something that's very interesting, but of course you have this weird select few people who are like, we need to tell Nintendo the Yuzu Emulator is on Android now. We need to tell Nintendo, because Nintendo doesn't know anything that the Yuzu Emulator has been on PC for a while. The Ryujinx emulator. No, we need to tell Nintendo. And you literally have people in these comment sections tagging Nintendo and stuff like this. This individual here, then please send a lawsuit because this definitely isn't legal. Like, what? What is wrong with you? Why are you tagging Nintendo to tell them about an emulator that is illegal? Because, it is legal because we talked about this before. You have to have the product keys and the firmware. If you watch the Dolphin video, you would know that this does not come with the product keys or the firmware. You have to provide your own or download them from another place. So it is fully legal to have this emulator exist. Look at this. This person is tagging basically all the subsidiaries of Nintendo, trying to get them to report a piracy. Please email. Like, what are we doing here? What are we doing here? And then this guy, he tags Mr. Sujano and MVG. This is the biggest crime of it all, though. This person tags Mr. Sujano, MVG, but he doesn't tag the Emulation King. I took that to heart. But you could go through and see that there are people that are like going crazy that this is a thing, that you could actually play Switch stuff on your Android device without having to do anything with your Nintendo Switch system. And I don't understand. I need a lawsuit sent now. This individual needs a lawsuit sent now. I need this lawsuit. Like, I don't understand this mentality. I don't understand why people have to do stuff like this. Why they think they're getting one up. They think they're helping the big multi-billion-dollar company because of an emulator. There are Nintendo Switch games that you cannot play right now because of them being taken off of a storefront, because they were timed exclusive, because of this, that, and the other. In order to play the Super Mario 3D All-Stars collection, the only way to play that, I'm just going to run this by you. The only way to play that right now, because you can't go out and buy it in a store. All the store copies have dried up. The only way to play this collection of 3D Mario games is to pay on the secondary market, either for a new copy or a used copy of the game, unless you already had purchased it during the small window of time that you had. There is no way that you can purchase that game right now, either digitally or physically, that will benefit Nintendo in any way, shape, or form. Think about that for a second. So when you say stuff like, oh, emulation is piracy, only people do it just to pirate stuff because they don't want to buy stuff. No. Emulation has a reason to exist. Emulators have been around for decades now, and they're not going anywhere. If anything, they're getting better. They're being more interesting. It allows you to do things that you couldn't have really thought could be done before. Stop being a weirdo about emulation, people. I don't understand. Like, you don't work for Nintendo. This has nothing to do with you. If you don't like it, just move on by. Just pass on by. It'll be okay. They're not going to start crumbling because an emulator came to cell phones. Then let's be realistic. It's not even going to run all of the games and all the games well. It's just an interesting experiment. It's something just to see that you can do it. I think it's cool, man. I'm looking forward to the future of Nintendo Switch emulation. I'm looking forward to the future of all emulation for all systems as it improves upon things that couldn't be done on original hardware. Embrace emulation. You worry too much about the secondary market. It's bizarre. It's bizarre to me. You worry about the multi-billion-dollar companies. You worry about the secondary stifles innovation. Shut up. Okay, I'm done. Anyways, let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section down below. Will you be checking out the Yuzu emulator? Do you have a beefy cell phone or a beefy Android tablet that can use something like this? Because obviously you're gonna have to have something on the higher end, at least for now. As time goes on, it will be more applicable with weaker devices and stuff like that when they sort of figure out different things within this emulator. But I think this is super cool. I think this is super awesome. And quit being a little infant about this. Let it be. It has nothing to do with you. If you don't want to use it, guess what? You don't have to use it. And as always, thank you for checking out this video. I'll have a link in the description box down below should you want to check out the Yuzu emulator via Google Play. I don't know why, because it's not going to give me any sort of kickback or anything, but just save you a little time because you're probably on your phone anyways watching this video. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.